we are live and in color. All right. So, welcome to episode 130 of American Werewolf in New Jersey.
Man.
I am the American Werewolf. That's right. And in the house tonight, we've got the Ryan Daly. What's happening? Happy Friday. Day before Saturday. And that's always a good thing. And we've got Eric from Hey Internet Eric here. And it's always good to have him on as well.
My pleasure, man.
A little later on, we'll probably have Kara from Horror Retrospectives, and I think the Goraphobe was supposed to pop in, but I'm not exactly sure if that's going to happen, so we'll just play it by ear.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, we already know what to do.
Do it live.
Now, when I first started this show, things were a little wobbly because, I had a very different and practiced sort of tone with things. Hello, welcome to the show, and tonight we're going to discuss. And but before long, I started to actually pay attention to what was happening around me in terms of these movies, and I started doing the something shitty threads. And so, who I am is who I've always been. It's just, I think, as I have continued with this show, it's just easier and certainly less practiced and more free-flowing with the conversation. But it's always honest, and it comes from the same place. And, we're discussing content. But there were a number of movies that I wanted to look at again. Sort of like a redux or a redo. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that term.
I think it's redo. It's French.
Yeah, it's redo. Okay, so redo, or something like
that.
Well,
let's just say volume 2.
Yeah, volume 2. This was one of them. And I was back and forth and on the fence. But then Eric, spoke up and he's like, "This is like one of my all-time greatest fucking films." And if we're going to do the Summer of Crime, I think this was your request for the Summer of Crime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I've been bugging you for a redo of this because we weren't as close as we are now. You know what I mean? Me being a frequent guest, and when you did this the first time, and I'm like, man, I know you, because I'm the same way on my channel. I don't like to redo the same thing over and over, but I'm like, if there's one I can get Mike to say yes to, it's got to be this one because I enjoy this movie so much.
Like I would never redo The Exorcist. We've done that, right? But I'm talking about things that occurred within the first 20 episodes.
Oh, you did this one before?
Yeah, I did. This was like episode 22 or something like that.
Oh,
so
okay.
this was like when things first started, and I was kind of always nervous and wobbly about,
Okay.
And I thought there are certain movies. It's either that, or they didn't have a large enough panel. There are certain films that I think deserve a larger panel and, more insight. And so, there we are.
Okay.
This is one of them. Now, this is a movie that I am a fan of. But over the years, my opinion of it has somewhat changed. I don't know if that's true. Here's the context of me and being introduced to this movie. I wanted to see it. I didn't go to the theaters to see it in the 90s. But I did I was over at my buddy's house one time, and I'm like, hey, let's go to the fucking video store and get a movie. And I'm like, go get Seven. Like, Seven's out on, this was during the days of VHS. And, okay, let's go get, VHS. And he's like, okay, I'll go get Seven. He comes back, and he's like, they didn't have fucking Seven. I'm like, fuck, because it was like Friday night. For those who, might see this in the stream or too young and, have seen this, you'll never understand the pressure of trying to find a movie where someone the video store may have only gotten 1 or 2 copies of.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the new movie that you probably didn't have access to. There were no streaming services back then, or any of that bullshit. It was just, you showed up and whatever was on the shelf. Yeah. And then every once in a while you would get lucky and someone would return it while you were there.
I miss those days, man.
Yeah. They were high pressure situations, man. They were high pressure situations.
we had the neighborhood video store. It wasn't even like Blockbuster or anything. Good old Absecon Video.
Oh, I remember Absecon Video.
Yeah, man. That's
The
where
mom
we
and
got
pop
all
stuff.
the movies.
Oh,
Absecon
yeah.
Video. That was it.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
the
we had-
with the black case. It had the black case with the colored paper for and the movie title written in marker. It was the best.
We had ours was a circus video,
Okay.
and what they had, they had everything on a display on a rack, and they had little like coat hangers, and you just had this little disc that they put on, and then you just have to take the disc off and give it, and that's how you know what they had,
That's
and then like on stock, and then what you can look forward to. So
funny.
I missed the mom and pop stuff.
I'll tell you what,
man.
you guys carry on for a second. I'll be right back. All right, just talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'll be right back. Give me like 60 seconds.
Sure.
Yeah, our video store was funny like that because it was like the old school, like the wood paneling on the wood, and it was like I remember the cases, like they would have the actual VHS cases, like the real movie boxes on like the shelves, and you'd pick it up and take it up front, and then they'd give you the thing in exchange, kind of thing. But yeah, they were fun, man. That was fun. It was always fun going to get movies.
That was something me and my wife did when we were just on dates. That's what we did Friday night. We went to go to movies, and it was funny because we would go into the video store, and we'd be in there for fucking 2 hours, walking around. We want to get this. No, let's get this. Hey, let's get this. Is this in? No. And it was nice because, there was a video store across the way, and they would call each other, hey, do you have this? Send each other
that's
customers.
cool. Yeah.
And the funniest thing is, after being there for 2 hours, we always ended up with like the same fucking Leslie Nielsen movie that we read every Friday. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because when my wife and I first moved into our house, there was a video store that she used to go to that was closing. So they were selling a bunch of their stuff. So we got a ton of movies. We got a ton of like DVDs because, at this point, we're no more VHS. But yeah, a bunch of DVDs of all kinds of movies. And, we watch them now and we're like, do we even really like this movie anymore? We kind of just bought them just because like
Impulse.
at the time it was like,
it was $1. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, let's get Death to Smoochie, which I actually like Death to Smoochie.
I do too. That's fun.
But now I had to get rid of it though because the box got all messed up. But like some movies, you're just kind of like, do I really like these anymore? If we bought them for $1, I don't know. But,
There are some movies that I won't watch, that I haven't seen them in a long time because I'm afraid that my feeling from when I first watched them and enjoyed them won't hold up, and I don't want that illusion ruined. Yeah, I think we all have movies. Like
I've told you that's why I don't want to watch Scream ever again because the last time I watched it was like before my daughter was born, and she's 10, and I know I'm not going to enjoy it now with the way my tastes have changed over the 10 years.
Yeah. Well, that brings me back to what we were talking about and how I got this kicked off. My friend didn't come back with Se7en.
Uh-oh.
And he's like, they were out of it because it was Friday night. Again, high pressure situation. And, he didn't have that kind of luck with him. You needed to send your luckiest friend out to the video, which one has the best kind of luck. And he came back instead with another movie. And he goes, I got this instead. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking watch that. It's not Se7en. It was called The Usual Suspects.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we proceeded to sit down and watch this movie that I didn't want to watch. And he only got away with that twice with me. He got away with it another time with the Shawshank Redemption. And he's like, I want you to watch this movie. And I'm like, I don't want to watch some depressing prison movie. And he's like, no, you need to watch this. And I thanked him at the end. And I'm like, thank you so much. Because especially if you're friends, that's, a movie that two friends should sit down and watch together. In case you ever go off to prison for 20 years.
Yeah, there you go.
In case one of you needs to escape from prison and meet in Mexico, then that's a good movie to watch. So somebody give me that hammer, that rock hammer.
Yeah.
Send me a rock hammer.
I'll just be happy with the Raquel Welch poster, but you can have your rock hammer.
It was Rita Hayworth.
Yeah. It started out with Rita Hayworth, and then it went to Marilyn, and then
that's right.
Raquel Welch from 10,000 BC or whatever.
Raquel.
But I proceeded to sit down and watch The Usual Suspects, and it was just one of the greatest things I had ever seen.
Yeah, man.
And so to watch Se7en, go ahead.
No, I was going to say with this movie, I had heard about it. I don't recall the first time I saw it, and I think I've only seen it maybe twice. And I watched it. I think Michelle and I watched it like a couple of years, 2-3 years ago. And but it's funny because it was right after it had come out, or it was around the time it had come out or whatever. I was in college, and I had this art class, and people were raving about it. There was this guy in the class that was like obsessed with the movie. He was like, "Oh, it's so good," and he basically spoiled the entire thing for me before I even watched it. Because at that point, I was kind of like, "Okay, whatever. If I see it, I see it," And so I didn't really care. But he's going on, and then he's like, and then there's this guy in a bed, and the teacher shut him up. The professor was like, "Stop!" She was like, "Stop!" She was like,
"Shut up!"
Yeah, I don't know if she had seen it yet, or I don't recall exactly, but I remember she told him to shut up because he was like, yeah, there was this guy in the bed and he's not dead, and she's like, "Stop!" That was funny. But then I did get to see it, and yeah, it holds up. It's masterful writing.
Are we talking about Seven or The Usual Suspects?
Seven.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Seven. No, I'm saying it has some. It's a good writing in that movie. And
well, what ended up happening was my opinion of Seven was sort of influenced because I saw The Usual Suspects first.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah.
And so I was just like, "Wow, this is good, but it's not."
Usual Suspects good.
Yeah, it's not The Usual Suspects good. That's like. I mean, because Seven's at a level,
yeah.
But then The Usual Suspects was like, it was just at a different level. But I mean, don't misunderstand it. I own a copy.
Yeah,
I was very lucky that they make these sorts of 3-packs. I have quite a few of them.
I'll be right back. I want to show off something. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Those are interesting movies to put in a 3-pack. Because they really don't have much to do with each other.
No, I have one that had Point Break, Executive Decision, and I forget what the third one was, but I'm like, when am I going to watch Executive Decision? Okay.
That's a guilty pleasure. I like that one.
It's a good Halle Berry, Steven Seagal, Kurt Russell.
Steven Seagal's only in it for like 10 minutes, and then he dies.
Yeah, he dies. And that was, kind of what threw you. You're like, holy shit, so good, because you figure he's going to be the action star.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell isn't an action guy in that movie. But then it's Point Break and... I forget what the other one. And then I have one with Troy, the director's cut, and 300. And then I've got the extended version of Alexander, Oliver Stone's Alexander with Colin Farrell. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad. Those 3-packs are really fucking handy.
Those 3-packs or those 4-pack DVDs, it's like they'll put at least 2 good ones on there, and then like either 2 or 3 good ones, and then the 4th one will kind of slip in. Like this one doesn't make a lot of
like I've never seen Insomnia.
It's great.
It's good.
Is it really?
Great movie. Yeah.
Okay.
It's I saw it because Michelle and I watched 1 Hour Photo, or no, which is the one with Robin Williams as the photo guy.
Yeah, 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah, 1 Hour Photo.
Great Kinnear, yeah.
And then we saw Insomnia, and I was like, dude, this guy was like
Williams is great when you give him like that creepy shit.
Yeah, you only think of him as a comedian, but man, he can play a villain. I mean, but Insomnia is good. It's a good one. I recommend it. It's good with Al Pacino, and it's a cool
what I wanted to show off is because you showed that little 3-pack, and every now and then I like to upgrade to Blu-ray. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't upgraded the 7 DVD because when it came out like this.
Oh, I had that one. Yeah,
and it's the one where you pull it out. It's the journal.
Cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's neat.
Yeah, the composition book. Yeah, with the
that's
journal.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
I like when they do that.
When they do stuff, they don't do this anymore. You know what I mean?
No.
Just like the little detail, like this is all typed out, like on a typewriter and stuff. So
that's cool.
Nowadays,
so that's why I don't want to upgrade because this is just fucking neat. You know what I mean?
It depends. Like if it's like not a cheap version of the movie, but if the cover looks if the cover looks goofy, like I upgraded my copy of The Great Escape. I got the Criterion version because I'm all about the Criterion collection now.
Same here.
Like the original DVD just had Steve McQueen's big face on the front, and and so it's just like this one is at least a little more artsy looking.
When they do that bullshit like stock photo DVD cover, it's just like you didn't even put in any effort.
Yeah, the big face. That's all.
And that's all it is. I mean, it's like when you're in the movie theater and they got some cool posters up on the walls and stuff. I want that. And then when you're like, you love the movie, and then when you get home, you see what it's like on DVD, like the cover, and you're just like, you put no effort into any of the home promotion.
Like in Ghost in the Darkness, the DVD is just Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer's big faces on the cover. It's like,
because there's a new Lion movie coming out too with Idris Elba.
Yeah, Beast.
Idris Elba's punching a lion in the face.
At first, I'm thinking like, well, when I saw the preview, I'm like, and then as soon as I saw the line, I'm like, oh crap, are they remaking Ghost in the Darkness? I was like, I really hope not, but they're not. So, and it's good to see Charlton Copley in something again.
Yeah,
because I haven't seen him since the A-Team. So it's good that he's in another movie.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
anyway, back to Seven.
Hold on, we covered Point Break, and it has executive decision in Swordfish.
Oh,
how fucking random is that?
Oh, well, yeah, what a random combo. See, I have like, if I get those collections, what's that one?
300 Troy Alexander Revisited.
Okay. See, if I get those 3 or 4 pack ones, like I have the 4 Lethal Weapon movies all in one thing. I have the Blade trilogy plus the TV pilot. Yeah. I have the Vacation movies, the 4 original Vacation European Christmas and the lesser liked Vegas Vacation that I don't ever watch. But it's like I'll get those ones. Like I want to make sure they all connect.
Same here.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
And I have the Dirty Harry, the first 4 Dirty Harrys.
Troy was really good. Yeah, and if you get the director's cut that I have, you see how
I have that one. That's good. Yeah,
so that's worthwhile. That's worth the director's cut. Insomnia was excellent. I haven't seen it yet. Okay, 1 hour photo. Scared the shit out of me. Robin Williams did The Midnight Caller as well.
I didn't see that one.
I don't know that one. And they had to change Beast. It was supposedly a cheetah, but audiences were too scared. So they had to sub in lions, and I think Patrick's making that up.
I think that's a joke.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. Now, you can really go 50-50 sometimes because I've said I own this movie before. It's Stoker Dracula, but I got it because I'll take Shelley's Frankenstein is really fucking solid
with De Niro.
Yeah, that's a solid fucking movie.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into
back
Seven,
to Seven.
shall we? Okay. No, it's not a true story, Patrick. Right. And with that, shall we get it going?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Boogie woogie.
I didn't even realize you hadn't played the intro yet. We're 18 minutes in talking about all kinds of nonsense.
Just talking, it's Friday night. Fuck it, Friday night.
Yeah,
fuck it. It's Dana White.
You can tell Mike's a lot more relaxed since episode 21. You know what I mean?
It was a Dana White every Friday. He does Fuck It Friday, where he just like has a big cheat meal, and he'll talk about what's in the meal and whether it's good or not. So it's like Fuck It Friday. So, this movie starts out with some possible casting decisions that I'm sort of glad they didn't go in these directions, because you've got Mills and Somerset, who are 2 polar opposite detectives.
Yep.
Put together during the last week of Somerset's career. He's partnered up with this guy for the last 7 days of his career, and they happen to catch a motherfucker of a case, which turns into a serial murder case. Possible considerations for Mills were Denzel Washington. That would have been an interesting contrast with Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman and a 90s Denzel Washington, still very young.
Yeah.
We're thinking, fallen age, these sorts of things.
Yeah.
In that movie, he has like an older partner is John Goodman.
Yeah, Fallen's
older.
great.
Yeah, and his much older superior is Donald Sutherland.
Sutherland.
Oh yeah, Elias Koteas is in it.
Yep.
There's
Wow,
all kinds of great people in
It's
that.
a fantastic movie.
Yeah. We got to get to that at some point.
Please do.
Another person up for consideration for Mills was Sylvester Stallone.
No.
No. Yeah, and then he's just.
Could you imagine him and Morgan Freeman?
I can't imagine
Hey,
Stallone.
Mill, Somerset, why are you so mad all the time?
Yeah.
Hey.
Why you disrespecting me? I can't imagine him having the range for a Fincher movie. He just doesn't.
I don't think
God
Morgan
love him.
Freeman would be in the same room as Stallone.
No, I doubt that. Hold on, Patrick won't let it go, and he says he read that in Variety. To all of you, yeah, right back at you, Patrick. All right, 7 is so good. I'm glad they stuck with Morgan. Hell no to Stallone. So, another possibility was Al Pacino as Somerset, which again I don't see. The 90s Al Pacino is the one that was yelling all the time.
That was his yelling period.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when he
yelled everything. Yeah.
Give me what you got.
Yeah,
She's got a great ass.
I don't see that. It's not a buddy cop movie.
No, not at all.
When buddy cop movies were thriving.
Yeah.
This is almost like a stage production.
It's
so maudlin.
I was thinking of like a dark, twisted, like Odd Couple. You know what I mean? The way they are. You get the old grizzled, sick and tired of everything in Somerset, and then with Mills, he's this Spitfire, go get him. I want to impress everybody. Shit talker, and they're always clashing heads, but they fit together so well.
Right, but you could have a contrast where it's like a Lethal Weapon. You've got an older Danny Glover. You've got the young hotshot. Who's like Mel Gibson. These sorts of things. But it's not that. It has a morose kind of feel to it, especially projected through Somerset, because Somerset is a character who has not been beaten down by the system, which is what makes him so morose. If he just gives into the apathy of everyone else, then he would just be moving through the city like everyone else and, blithely sort of going their way and, not paying attention to anything. But he's this, man of intellect, a man of books, and, he's at home and he's single, and he's sort of, he's grouchy. So he's at home reading Hemingway, listening to Charlie Parker, at night by himself. He's not a drinker or anything. He's this sort of stoic guy he's just kind of, he's done.
He's burnt out. He don't care anymore. Yeah,
he's perfect. Like you said, he's grouchy. Like one of my favorite scenes, like with Somerset, it's just how Morgan is. Like he's got this prim and proper look to him, but it's like he's gone within a couple of days. I love like when he's in his office and the guy is scraping his name off the window, and he's just like, and he looks at him, he's like, "Could you not do that, please?"
Excuse me. Could you not do that?
like he's a grump. He's not an asshole, but he's still saying basically, just get out, leave me alone.
Yeah. And he doesn't have that thing. He's not domesticated.
Right.
He's not married. He's never been married.
Yeah.
It's just guys they get kids, and you turn into a different person. And he doesn't have that. He's sort of solitary. He keeps to himself. He's not one of the guys laughing and joking all the time. And then on the other hand, you've got Mills, played by a very young Brad Pitt. Not necessarily held in high regard. Not getting along very well instantly with Somerset, because he just, he's just, kind of a walking hard on, just point me to the action and that's where I want to go.
Yeah,
Get out of my way and I'll take care of it.
He's so loud and brash, and
Yeah.
Somerset, he's just like you said, stoic and quiet, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean when I say they clash with each other, at least personality wise.
Yeah, and it works perfectly. They're the last two people that you would think to put together. And there was, I don't know if I told you guys this story, but the last time I watched this, or when I watched this, I watched it with there's, if you get it on DVD or Blu-ray, I don't know, you probably have it on DVD too. There's a lot of different backup audio commentary.
Yeah, there's 4 of them.
There's one with Brad Pitt and I think Morgan. And they talk about how the test screenings, they hid in the theaters for one of the test screenings. And it was advertised in the 90s as "Come see Se7en with Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall," and Morgan Freeman from Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
So they said like all these big butt 40-something like teacher moms like showed up to the theater thinking they're gonna watch Legends of the Fall and Driving Miss Daisy. Yeah. And they said like 4 of the women on the way out said they wanted to kick someone in the teeth because. This isn't
that was poor marketing. It was poor marketing.
That was trolling before the internet existed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't these people watch the trailer? I mean,
no, these are big. They're watching Dancing with the Stars. They think these 40-something teacher moms. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. I know.
They're not plugged into. As a teacher, I was stunned, and this is why Ryan and I actually became friends. And I've been one of the main reasons is because he was a teacher that was actually curious about things. Like I thought when I got into teaching that people would be, intellectuals and they'd want to talk books and, film and, have serious discussions and critiques. And all they wanted to talk about was Dancing with the Stars, ESPN.
Yeah.
Or there was like a third thing, and I'm like, I've got to get the fuck away from these people. And I did that for like 3. Or talk politics, like office politics.
Or about
like Ryan was the only person that I like really talked to, and the whole Ryan and I worked in the same building for like 2 or 3 years. And that was like, oh God, that was like 14 years ago or something like that. And he was the only person I could talk to because I'm not talking about fucking Dancing with the Stars. How did you see Dancing with the Stars?
I don't watch that show. But
so Ryan and I would have lunch, and plus we had the same summer gig together. But we would discuss films and we would discuss, books and all these different things. And
okay, very cool.
Yeah. So it was no surprise at all for me to hear that these 40-something teacher moms had no fucking clue what was going on with this film. Because
that's what always boggles my mind. Some of these people coming into these movies and. It's like you don't watch the trailer beforehand. You don't do your research. You walk in and then you have no idea what the hell it's about. You're asking a million questions. I hate that in the movies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Where these people are talking loud. What just happened? What's going to happen? It's like, just shut up and watch it or leave.
I remember going to Avengers Endgame and I had the fucking sorry misfortune to sit next to some mom with her like 6-year-old kid.
Oh.
But why is that happening? What did he say? Huh? What does that mean? Huh? And I just felt like
for 3 hours. Good God!
If you don't tell that little motherfucker to shut up, I'm going to throw him down the fucking stairs.
I think I
get that twitchy little fuck out of my fucking ear. All right.
I think I told this story
in his narrow ass down about 40 steps.
I think I told this story before, but I went back when I think it was the Two Towers. I took my dad to see it. He was into the Lord of the Rings. We're both fans of the Lord of the Rings. We go to see it. Matinee show. We're hoping not many people are there. Yeah. And we're sitting behind this guy and his girlfriend. And the dude, he must have been like translating it for his girlfriend. Because he's sitting there through the whole movie. This constant friggin' like commentary. And the girlfriend must have not spoken English, and he was like, dude, come on. And then another time, it was, I forget what Star Wars movie it was, but I'm sitting there, I'm pumped, ready to see it. His family walks in with a friggin' baby. And I'm like, Oh shit! I said that.
That happened to me once when I went to see The Others. Somebody brought a fucking baby into The Others,
and it was. I think it was Attack of the Clones or something. But anyway, they bring a friggin' baby in there, and I'm like, fuck, that baby's gonna start crying during the movie. Sure enough, during one of the big battle scenes, and this guy actually in the front row turned around and said, "Take your kid out of the theater," and we didn't hear a peep after that. So, but it's like, I applauded that guy because it was just like, dude, come on, like, like, I guess maybe they couldn't get a babysitter, but pick a different night to go to the movies. I don't know.
Hey, if you're a parent, sometimes you got to cancel the movies.
Exactly. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, for about 15 years.
My kids, you know what? It's funny because my kids aren't really into like going to the movies that much. Like we've taken them.
It's not a thing for like if you're younger than 10. It's not a thing anymore.
Yeah, they took like, I think we took them to see. I think the first like full-on movie that they actually sat through all the way was like Toy Story 4, and they were fine. And I think, and then when Fandango has those, like we did the 40th anniversary of the Muppets, the Great Muppet Caper, which was great, and they had a good time with that. And the audience was great too, because they were fans in the audience, so they were having a good time. But yeah, my kids aren't like. I think my wife took my son to see like his first movie was like Boss Baby, and it was like 40 minutes
No wonder
into
he
it.
doesn't want to go back.
No, yeah, this is 40 minutes into it. He's like, I don't want to see this anymore. So they left. Yeah, she was like, okay, that's fine with me. And they got.
I could have saved him 40 minutes right there. I could have told him before he went in. I could have saved the $20.
Yeah, so he was just bored with it. He was like, well, I don't want to see this anymore. But
smart kid.
Yeah.
All right. So we're starting off. So we've got some casting decisions. We're glad things turned out the way that they did.
Was Morgan Freeman always locked in?
It was possible Pacino. That's what we were saying.
Oh, for Somerset. Oh, for Morgan's part. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It was Stallone and Denzel for Mills, but Al Pacino has a possibility as Somerset, which I don't really like. Again, he's in the shouting phase.
He's too loud.
Yeah,
too in your face.
Yeah, the volume.
Yeah. And that's I don't see him pulling off the stoic thing.
Right.
He's too volatile.
He's too bombastic. Yeah.
He's a long way from that Michael Corleone thing.
Yeah.
That was 50 years ago. That ain't him no more.
It's hard to
Army
believe that it was 50 years ago. But
that's very true. But I mean, he was perfectly stoic in that. He's a cold-blooded fucking bastard. But Arlie Ermey was in consideration as John Doe.
Oh, wow.
Simply as a Marine. He would have been a Marine, a buzz cut, very clear cut and dry. I did this. And Arlie Ermey is a person, I mean, we know him in the theater, but from the movies, but to see him on the street, you probably wouldn't give him a second look, really. He doesn't really stand out that much.
He's an everyday guy.
Yeah, he's just an everyday guy.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah,
no, I said that would have been perfect to kind of do that. I mean, I know why they picked Spacey. I mean, Spacey was kind of on a roll there because he had done Usual Suspects, and that really shot him to the stratosphere. So, it made sense for him to be to.
The thing of it is with John Doe is that John Doe is an everyman.
Mm-hmm.
He is a and that's kind of what Morgan Freeman is constantly saying. You know, this is everyday life that we're experiencing here. He says it a couple of times. If this guy's head opens up and a UFO flies out, I want you to have expected it. And he's like, if this man actually turns out to be the devil, like Lucifer himself, then that might be something. But he goes, but it's not going to be.
Right.
No.
And instead you've got this balding, slight looking, sort of effeminate, kind of guy. And you're just like, you're looking for a werewolf. You're looking for something, you're looking for the monster from an American Werewolf in London.
Yep. Yeah. And that's I think that's definitely the point, because we don't see John Doe. There's a couple scenes we see him, but we don't see him like revealed till like maybe the last 25, 30 minutes. And
Yeah.
that's great because, like you said, he's very small. He kind of effeminate. But we've already seen the disgusting depravity that he can cause. And you're like,
Yeah.
this is the guy.
Yeah.
But see, and
This
and
guy did all that crap.
Yeah.
That's what makes it more
It's not
air
evil
quotes hard to
Arnold
believe.
Schwarzenegger. Yeah, it's not evil Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not bad Superman. It's just this. You
Well,
know,
and
by today's standards, we'd be a lot more used to it because of school shootings.
yeah,
You know,
well,
where they're
and
never.
it follows the pattern of if you do your research on serial killers, most of those guys were unassuming looking, slight, most of them were slight, unassuming, everyman looking guys who you didn't know were these complete depraved wackos. I mean, that's
if
like
you watch
look at
any
Ted Bundy. Look
John
at
Wayne
Ted
Gacy.
Bundy was a handsome dude. I mean, nobody would have thought that he did all that crap. I mean,
if you watch any of these Netflix documentaries on serial killers, and you can find them just about anywhere, and the lesser known guys, they look like somebody's uncle, like you would have at a cookout, and you're you.
Yeah,
you're
so
like who the fuck could you kill? Like, and I'm, maybe I just take these things for granted, but I'm just like you, you're like, what the
that's
fuck?
why I think Spacey works because
he is so everyday.
Look. He has that everyman look, and he has that, this guy did it. Yeah,
exactly.
It's this meditate, and Fincher called it a meditation on evil.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And there is a banality to it. There's a banality in just how everyday this man is. He's not Lucifer. There's not a possession issue here. This isn't a UFO flying out of his head. It's just this little mousy fucking guy.
Yeah,
who's been torturing and murdering and ripping people to pieces, and you look at him and you're just puzzled by the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, even his landlord said, he was quiet, he kept to himself, he paid his rent on time,
Yeah.
And what I like is that I like that they did this, that he's, committing the murders in the style of the 7 deadly sins, which, that's been done before in different motifs. I mean, it's in different movies you have, there's kind of like, I'll just back for a minute, just because I'm making the connection, like with the Abominable Dr. Phibes, where he's killing the doctors in the style of the plagues of Egypt.
Yep.
And in Theater of Blood, he's killing the critics in the style of Shakespeare tragedies. So it's I like that they went kind of with that, obviously in a more serious tone, but I thought that was cool. That and each of them was a set. And man, I remember the first time I saw this movie, and those murder scenes were just like, holy shit. I mean, I think it was the first time I saw them like really depict what a serial killer murder scene would look like. Like that's kind of what I envisioned a serial killer murder scene would look like. This just crazy shit.
The thing of it is that at the same time, the people that he's killing are not good people.
No.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
You've got this other thing going on too, where, like if you watch the documentaries, it's a lot of, or if you watch that show Mindhunters, which to me is the best show that Netflix has ever done. And it's based on the true story of the FBI's behavioral science unit and how it came to be.
Okay.
Because for them, the FBI was formed to hunt people like John Dillinger.
Oh yeah.
And Babyface Nelson and sort of. But then all of a sudden, like crime evolved, and you started to get into the Mansons and the son of Sam, and the Bundys, and you started to get this extreme violence between strangers. Because before, what law enforcement understood was, okay, this man slept with my wife, bang, I killed him. Okay, this man cheated me in business, he cheated me out of money, bang, I killed him. But then you started to get this whole other thing that they didn't quite understand, and what they started to realize was that the way that they approached law enforcement had to change.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, most of those victims were just random people who just got grabbed. You know, whereas here, these people are not. They're not.
See, I forgot about that. I forgot that the victims were bad people themselves. Like, wasn't the guy on the bed like a child molester or something?
Yeah, he was like a pederast or something. Yeah,
the sloth guy. Yeah. And the one guy was like a lawyer who
who defended the pedophile
out of himself. Yeah,
he defended the pedophile and got him off. Like it starts out with the one guy, and he's just like this more 600-pound, he's shut in. You know, and he's so fat, like you can't see the chair.
Right.
Yeah.
That he's sitting on, and
that's gross.
I mean, there's just so what makes it work for me is that you never actually see the crimes being committed.
No, you see the aftermath. Yeah.
It's always the aftermath and the cruelty.
Yeah.
That's involved.
I think that works. We don't need to see the crime happen. You know? I think it works that way. Yeah.
Now, this was Fincher's first film after Alien 3.
That's right. He did Alien 3.
His experience with Alien 3 was so bad, he said he'd rather die of colon cancer than actually make another fucking movie again.
Yeah, he still does not. He still refuses to discuss Alien 3. Yeah. Like, I have the quadrilogy, like on Blu-ray.
Okay.
And every single movie has a brand new filmed for the Blu-ray. Ridley Scott's there, Cameron's there, whoever did Resurrection's there. They put a note saying Fincher did not want to participate in this. He's that upset with what Fox, how they fucked him over.
Yeah, the studios apparently were really up his ass about everything and made him. I heard.
That was his first movie.
Yes,
Alien 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hold on a second. We got some more comments. Patrick is. My stove has more range than Stallone. Stallone's kind of underrated, and I think like Keanu Reeves, he's finally discovered films later in life that work effectively for his range.
Right.
Honestly, and I was going to suggest this to you for the Summer of Crime. My favorite Stallone movie is Copland. He's fantastic in that. He's great. I mean, I think he's perfect.
It wasn't The Midnight Caller. It was The Night Listener, okay, which is an IMC release. All right, and then he's talking about... Pacino did an excellent turn in Hangman.
I never heard of
that. John C. McGinley could have played John Doe. Sloth was the scariest of the murders. Same thing in Frailty. Paxton wasn't killing nice people, but demons. Well, I mean, it's not a crime to be a shut-in.
Right.
No,
it doesn't make you. It doesn't make you an evil person to, eat so much that you can't fucking. Leave your house.
John Doe
what was that guy's crime?
John Doe kind of explains it. It's not necessarily, they're not necessarily air quotes bad people, other than like maybe the lawyer and the pedophile. But he also says like a man's so fat and disgusting he can't even leave his house.
Like
he
mentions
he mentions the prostitute. He mentions a girl who would rather die than not be beautiful. These are morally looked down upon, and that's the crime.
Okay, I see.
Is what they do.
Hey, Kara. Okay. Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. All right. Well, let's just keep going. Are you there? All right. Maybe you're not there.
Can I hear you?
Yeah, can't hear you if you are.
Okay, I can hear you now.
There we go.
Hello.
Hey, there we are.
Okay, there you go. Hey, welcome aboard.
Hello.
Howdy. So, I mean, there's just, there's so much fucking cruelty in what's happening here that, you do feel some sympathy because some of the people are bad people.
Right.
But this guy is worse.
Yes.
He's far, far worse. And the way that it starts to... I don't know. What's your opinion on how it starts to wear on Mills and Somerset?
I always love how Mills not Mills, Somerset, he says, this guy's just beginning. And he's on his last week. He's like, I can't get attached to this. He's basically saying I don't have the energy for it. And I love how, how opposite Mills is. He's like, if Somerset can't do it, fuck him. Sorry. Well, let me take the reins type of thing. So I like how tired Somerset is, how gung-ho Mills is, but then you definitely see how it is definitely waning more so on Somerset, in my opinion, because Mills doesn't really show it, in my opinion, until towards the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think Somerset definitely shows it more because he's already tired when this movie starts.
And Mills doesn't have the experience to appreciate how bad it's going to be.
Yes.
Which I think, Somerset does. He can already see which way this is going.
Because he also says the worst thing about, John Doe is this guy's patient.
Yeah.
Because the sloth murder or the sloth death or whatever, that took over a year to do.
Yeah.
And he has the intellect for these frames of reference that go back to classic books. He can see that this is someone that is not to be dismissed, whereas Mills is just kind of dismissive about things.
Yeah, he just thinks he's a psycho.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. No, most serial killers aren't dummies.
Right.
I mean, they're very intelligent people for the most part. I mean, yeah.
It's a tough thing. I mean, you see the sloth murder where he essentially has been fed till he burst. The lawyer.
No, that was gluttony.
Yeah, gluttony.
Yeah. The greed. The lawyer who was essentially had a pound of his own flesh removed and bled to death.
And he made him do it himself.
Yeah. Made him do it himself. That brings you to the sloth.
Yep.
Which is, the pedophile. And as this slowly starts to even wear down Brad Pitt, you realize that the point of all this is kind of to bring everybody down to his level. Everybody, John Doe wants all of these people to come down, to his level. And, there's this, I saw this tweet one time, this guy, he's on Twitter, but he said, if America did have a motto, it would just kind of be like, suffer as I do. I can't remember what the Latin translation was, but that's kind of what he wants. He wants everybody to feel what it is that he's feeling. And he's just an evil bastard, man. Just an evil bastard. And it's serial murder kind of, it's like the professional wrestling of serial murders. And so, cases don't go this way. This kind of thing. Most serial murders go on for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas here you have this meticulously planned thing that expires basically in a week.
That's right. Yeah.
The whole thing is like one murder every day for 7 days.
Pretty much.
And yeah. So, Carol, when was the last time you saw this?
Oh, I'm a little rusty. I was probably a year ago.
Was it the last time that we did the show?
It was, I'll be honest.
Okay. So, I mean, what do you think? I mean, what sticks out in this for you? Because we talked about some of the possible casting that would have happened and so on and so forth. But what jumps out at this? What jumps out at you about this?
I mean, to me, it was just the whole shock of everything, the way everything was planned out and done. As you guys mentioned, I think there was reference to Canterbury Tales, Dante's Inferno. I'm not sure what else. I want to say I'm missing 2 other books.
Yeah. It was like the Dictionary of Catholicism and Human Bondage and all these different things.
Yeah.
It's an extremely well written script.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah,
it's an extremely well written script. It's got a lot of great cinematography. You're in this nondescript city that always seems to be deteriorating in the rain. Everything just always looks dirty.
You feel like you want to shower after watching this film.
Yeah,
you really
it's one of those movies. Yeah.
And
And like Mike said, not just for the murders and finding the crime scenes, because of the town itself. It's just dark and dingy.
Yeah.
Like even
Yeah.
the alleyway. That's a great We haven't talked about it. That's a great chase scene when Pitt is chasing John Doe through the alleyway and through the apartments and all that stuff. That alley is just so disgusting. I want to say this. I'm glad Brad Pitt was cast, because when I saw this like on VHS, like I was in high school. And at that time, to me, Brad Pitt was just Hollywood pretty boy.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize Brad Pitt could be this in your face, trash talking guy that you also could love, because I love his relationship with his wife, Tracy, Gwyneth Paltrow. One of my favorite scenes is, he comes home, like they have such a great relationship. I love how, he gets the phone call in the morning. He says, Serpico's got to go do his thing. And she says, yeah, we got some eye crust, Serpico. So she can still knock him down a peg. He says, hey, honey, how was, work? They kiss. I'm going to go I'm going to go check on the kids. And those are the dogs, their kids are the dogs. They have a great relationship, and she's on screen 15 minutes, if that. But
yeah, she had a really small part.
She is really good with him. And I don't know if they were a couple at the time, but they had that chemistry, and it worked.
This is one of the better roles I remember her from. I don't, then thinking about it now, when you think of Gwyneth Paltrow, I mean, you're thinking of MCU. But I mean, I can't remember too many of her other roles. This is the one that kind of sticks out for me.
Yeah.
She's an interesting character in that she's almost like a victim of circumstance, because she clearly doesn't want to be there. And she's just kind of, keeping quiet about how miserable she is. There's nothing she wants to do there.
The scene of the diner when she kind of just lets it all out to Somerset.
Yeah, because she's pregnant too. And if you've ever had a massive relocation to a place you don't want to go to, it's not a lot of fun.
It's stressful.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun. You don't want to invest or interact in anything that's going on there, because by default, you just don't want to be there.
Right.
It's a difficult thing, which I didn't necessarily appreciate in '95. When I was watching it at whatever age, but now looking at it, I'm like, yeah, that's a shitty situation that she's in, and she's just kind of doing her best.
Yep.
To be supportive, because go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask. Well, isn't it fair to assume that she's also going through depression, because there's this huge change? She's worried about this unborn child. It's this big dirty city. Her husband's always gone. He's involved in this big case, so she's overwhelmed.
Yeah, she's got all that pressure of because she knows how. I'm sure she doesn't know everything, but she knows enough that this is dangerous. This is a dangerous case.
Yeah.
What if something happens to my husband? Now I'm going to be a single mom in this place that I never wanted to come to.
Yeah, and probably doesn't have the funds to move out of if such a tragedy were to happen.
Right.
No, I mean, you can see that they're not these aren't police officers that are living well.
No.
It looks like Somerset has like a 1-bedroom apartment, almost a studio. They're not doing too much better than that. They've got the one bit of humor in the whole movie is that, the vibrating home joke, so they're sort of living like just above tenement level.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's just, it's relentlessly bleak. And it's not just the John Doe kind of thing. It's the everyday cruelty you see on the streets. Like when Morgan Freeman is telling that story to Arlie Ermey. About the mugging where the attacker stabs the guy in both of his eyes after he gets the money from the guy.
Right.
When there's the one shot where he's headed off to the library, and you can see some guy is trying to be helped by police, and he's just flailing on the ground in the rain. And so you're just constantly surrounded by this awfulness. And the thing that makes them so morose, especially Somerset, is that he doesn't give into it. He sort of keeps his moral compass, which makes life increasingly difficult. And they're all that way. Tracy, David, and Somerset, in that, they don't let the world beat them. They don't sort of, go with the tide. And that's what makes things all the more difficult for them.
One thing I want to bring up is, This movie is so dark at times, so depressing, but the little bit of levity that we get, I think, is done really well. I love how, Somerset's doing his research at the library, Dante's Inferno, this and that. Mills has the Cliff Notes version. You know what I mean? Because he can't do the research.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
mentioned how Ermi was originally thought of to being John Doe. I'm glad he's in this movie because he's such a wise ass when he's not being, the tough guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got some of the most funny lines, which aren't, they're not like, ha ha ha, but you're gonna get a chuckle. I love like when Somerset is trying to explain like this is just beginning, and he's just like, well, somebody just wanted the fat boy dead, something like that.
Yeah.
Or when they're trying to match the fingerprints, and it's just Mills and Somerset, they passed out on the bench, and he just wake up, Wonder Twins, we got a case to do or something like that.
Yeah.
It's perfectly spread out because if there wasn't any comedy, this would be a real, I don't want to say chore, but it'd be really tough to watch from beginning to end without being able to take a breath.
I mean, it is a downer of a movie, and you do need those moments of levity. Hell, even the ending is a downer.
Well,
but
it gives me a random curiosity because I don't know if you would consider just the dirtiness and griminess of the city to be not just a character within itself, but foreshadowing for what was his name, Mills, like for how dirty and wrathful and grimy he was going to become himself, because he walks in very clean cut, very hopeful. He's very happy. He has no idea what's ahead of him. And I don't know, I just kind of see it like he eventually just became as dirty and loathsome as the city that he moved to.
That's the catch with this movie, is that the three of them, Tracy, David, and Somerset, are all good people.
Yeah.
They're all good people. And, Arlie Ermy is a good person too, but you can tell he just accepts that things are this way. He doesn't spend a great deal of time thinking about them. This is the job, boom, this is what I'm doing. And, wake up, wonder, someone tortured the fat boy, next.
Yeah.
But
where's the coffee?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the focus of the other three, is that how three good people, are sort of coping. There's a lot of cope in this movie. Are coping with just this place that they aren't going to change. And as it turns out, ends up changing all three of them.
Well, that's how manipulative the villain is he manages to get under everyone's skin, and no one walked away clean. He changes everyone that he interacts with.
He takes undamaged people and manages to damage all three of them.
He warps them.
It's like I think it was Fincher who was saying, the evil, once it touches you, it's like stuck on the bottom of your shoe.
You
can't scrape it off.
You can't scrape it off.
What's that old saying that you can't change the devil changes you?
Yeah. And to look at the John Doe character, who, and this is what makes him so terrifying, is his absolute conviction that he's right. This isn't someone who's trying to hide. In a lot of serial killer cases, these guys lie and they obfuscate. Well, it wasn't me, or it's like the Shawshank Redemption. Everybody in there is innocent. But with this
lack
guy,
of accountability.
There is an absolute moral certainty that he has done the right thing by society, by torturing and murdering and ripping all these people to pieces who are just complete strangers to him. There's not the entertainment value that you get from a Hannibal Lecter.
Right.
Well, all these guys, all those kind of guys, I think a lot of them anyway, think that they're doing something right, when they do this to these people. I mean, wasn't that what Son of Sam thought he was doing? Like when he listened to his neighbor's dog and told him to go kill people, it was like, go kill this person because they're bad. Or who is the other guy? Bernard Getz, the subway guy who shot those people on the subway because he thought they were just criminals and just decided to shoot him. Yeah, I mean, because he thought they were bad people. I mean, a lot of these guys legitimately think they're doing, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them think that they're doing justice
right.
by killing these other people, you know? I mean, look at Jack the Ripper. He killed prostitutes. I mean, he probably thought he was doing something good. I mean, but a lot of these guys are nuts.
Yeah, in reality, he was
They're
just
all
an evil asshole who
self-justifying.
hated women.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, self-justified is exactly it. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
guy.
I mean, they all have some kind of a spectrum to where, as you guys said, like they're very intelligent, but there's this lack of accountability, and there's this this tunnel vision where they only see what they want to see, and everything is either just black and white. It's this, or that. There's no, well, you can't look at the gray area and say, well, it's this way because of that. It's like, no, that's it. It's this thing.
Yeah. You know, with the John Doe character, it's an absolute inability to see any other point of view.
Yeah. And what's also great about John Doe is like not only that, like he's patient too. He's not afraid because when we first see him, other than the chase scene, and I'll tell you, I'm not gonna lie, man, that was a really holy shit moment when they found out that the photographer that Brad Pitt told to fuck off was him. That's a great moment. But his actual reveal is a fantastic way to bring him in, because you just see him from behind. You don't know it's Kevin Spacey. He's slowly outside walking into the precinct. Mills and Somerset walk right past him. You hear him just say, "Detective." Like he's not yelling. He says like, "Detective." Yeah. He says like 2 or 3 times, and then he yells, "Detective." And then he holds up his hand, and the fucker's just covered in blood. He's just like, "I believe you were looking for me." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he turned himself in.
Very cheeky. And
he still got this all planned out down to the T, knowing that he had to turn himself in. And then the fact that they said that it's not his blood on him or the blood of any previous victim. So you still have another half hour of this roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even in the chase scene, which is maybe the only real action scene of the movie, this isn't an action movie.
No.
It's some sort of like crime suspense
film. Very high tension.
But I mean, you're very surprised to see that, Brad Pitt is the action guy. And that's not what I'm surprised to see. What I'm saying is I was surprised to see that John Doe gets the better of him. You figure, okay, well, this guy's just going to either outrun him or something like that. But even in this, he ends up getting the best of Brad Pitt, and he really spares his life.
See, that makes me wonder. I think because obviously, we know John Doe has this all planned. I think he was just intimidating Mills with the gun to the head. I don't think he was ever going to shoot him, even if he could have. That's what I mean. He says, I could do this right here because he, you know what I mean? And it's just like he knew that he had more to do. But he was just proving a point. He's like, this is so easy for me. Yeah. And we got to get, I got to say, like I said before this, Brad Pitt was just a pretty boy, or, he was Floyd in True Romance.
Well, I mean, he was popular. I mean, he had his string of movies before this. He had done Interview with the Vampire and all that other stuff. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I give him props because that when he during that chase scene, he really broke his wrist. So that's why you see him with a cast for the rest of the movie, because he tried to do his own stunt. He kept going.
They added it into the character. That's cool. Yeah. That's like in Django Unchained when Leonardo DiCaprio cut his hand when he smashed the glass and he's got the blood all over his hand. They just kept it in.
Yep.
It was a real accident, That's interesting. Yeah, because I mean Brad Pitt was pretty well known at that point. But it was
I forget, was this 97, 98 when the film was out?
95.
95.
Wow.
Yeah, he had done what did he do before this? He did Legends of the Fall.
Thelma and Louise.
That was a good one.
He did Interview with the Vampire. True Romance. He did True Romance.
Well,
Floyd.
I think
Floyd.
It's one of his earlier roles. He had a guest part on, I forget what season of Tales from the Crypt it was. The episode was called King of the Road, and he was this sleazy, scummy character. And
Street racer.
Well.
Yep.
His first big role apparently was Thelma and Louise.
Yep.
That was
Yeah.
like his breakout role.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Cutting Class.
No. No, he was.
That was so bad.
I didn't see Cutting Class. I didn't see that one.
He's really good. And there's a movie called with David Duchovny and Juliette Lewis called California, where he's a serial.
I haven't seen that.
He's a serial killer, and
I've heard great things.
it's really, really fucking good.
Is that like
Yeah,
California with a K or something?
California with a K.
Yeah.
Yep.
Him
Yeah,
and
I
Duchovny
haven't
are
gotten
great.
around to watching it.
Really
I
good.
was gonna
He's
say,
scary in that movie.
When we were talking about the screenwriter, the screenwriter of this, Andrew Kevin Walker, wrote Sleepy Hollow. Same guy. So that's
That's a
I like
contrast.
it.
Jeez.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Wow.
Sleepy Hollow is one of my favorites. So
But he's a good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Pitt, yeah.
I'm not looking forward to like this was a Bullet Train or something. It just
It looks
kinda silly.
entertaining.
It looks
I'll
like a
watch
Guy
it,
Ritchie movie. Is it a Guy Ritchie movie?
No,
It
it's
looks
not.
like a
It
Guy
should
Ritchie
be.
movie.
Snatch.
It looks like a Guy Ritchie
That's my movie.
Yeah, he's great in that.
Mickey.
I just, you guys
on
know,
the furniture.
yeah. Mima. He's got that picture.
But it
of his
matches
mom.
cipher covers.
But I mean, you guys know, I was sick a couple of weeks ago, and while I was sick, I watched the entire Ocean's trilogy.
Oh yeah,
Those movies are
he's
just great.
Yeah,
They're great. He's Rusty. Yeah, the
Rusty.
timing and the comedy and
I like
they're
that
all
in the
three of
first
them.
movie. He's always eating.
Yeah,
In the first
he's always
movie,
got indigestion too. He's got some heartburn.
finishing eating something. Yeah, got like shrimp cocktail in one scene.
Yeah, or like some nachos or something like that. He's always eating something.
Yeah,
But this was him at kind of the start, and also sort of Morgan Freeman at the start. Because I'll be honest, I've never seen Driving Miss Daisy.
Nope.
I'm not going to watch Driving Miss Daisy.
I don't want to.
I did watch that one actually.
Did you really? And was it any good?
I watched it just to say I did watch it, but it was a pretty good drama. There's really no antagonist other than the interaction between mother and son, because the whole son knows best thing, and Morgan Freeman's character's kind of looking out for her.
Okay.
Wasn't Dan Aykroyd in that?
He was the son.
Oh, okay.
He's
I like
the
Dan
son.
Aykroyd.
Now, Kara, I don't remember if you remember from our show where we were talking about the test screening that they did, where they advertised this as, from Legends of the Fall and Driving Miss Daisy, and brought in all the wrong people to watch this fucking movie.
It makes it sound like a feel-good movie.
Yeah. And
you imagine?
everybody walked out of there wanting to strangle
I would
somebody.
love to be part of a test screening. I mean,
I would love to be part of that
I would
test
have walked
screening.
out thinking, what the devil was that?
Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean, just like the reactions from people, like just how people, and then and if it's really terrible, they go back and fix it and things like that.
Not to go off on a tangent, but that's what happened with Batgirl.
Yeah.
Is that
Apparently
what
happened?
The test audience was so bad, they said it was like watching a bad television episode.
Oh,
Wow. Well, I remember.
And they're like, okay, there goes $70 million. We're shelving it. Now, at some point down the road, it might get to HBO Max or something. But for right now, it's shelved. So sometimes,
I remember,
depending on what the audience says. Go ahead.
I remember listening to Mel Brooks talk about Blazing Saddles, and he said the original test audience for that, he said there was a bag lady in there with a bottle in her hand, and she was asleep. And they had nobody else because they showed the movie in Cherry Hill. For some reason, it premiered in Cherry Hill. Yeah. And so in his memoir, he's talking about, he's like, there was a lady up in the front row with a bottle, like a baby bottle, this wino, bag lady. And she was asleep through the whole thing. And she woke up at one part and laughed and then went back to sleep. And they were like, oh, we're going to get
got a
killed.
winner. We got a winner.
Yeah. And so then he begged him, look, show the movie again in LA or wherever there's a big crowd. And then, they had the right test audience and everybody loved it. So, but yeah, it's sometimes you got to go back and fix it or find a different test audience.
So we get to the end, and the reveal, and
what an ending.
And it's there's a shitload of tension.
Yeah.
Because you can't figure it out. You're like, where's the threat? He's handcuffed.
Mm-hmm.
He's shackled, he's completely manacled. He's on his knees.
Yeah.
One or two of the other officers have got him covered directly with a gun. You've got the SWAT team and the helicopters, from above.
Yep.
They've got him covered. Why the fuck am I nervous?
Yeah.
And that's just a testimony, one, to good performances,
Yeah.
a good story, but I also think Fincher's direction. And another thing I just want to throw in there real quick, because I see you want to get in. A really good fucking score.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the music.
Score is just filled with fucking dread, man.
Okay.
Whew. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's fine. What I was saying is, the movie came out in '95, and the ending's been parodied everywhere. Everyone knows the "what's in the box" thing,
Yeah.
But it's still a gut punch to me, because you said great performances. When Somerset opens the box, he's meticulous. He lifts it and he slowly turns it and he opens it with the knife. When he opens it, he doesn't. It's a very subdued, like, gasp, shock.
Yeah.
And then the way he looks at Mills, and Mills has got him, with the gun pointed right at Doe's head, and he's telling everybody, John Doe has the upper hand. What the fuck is in the box? And then they have the what's in the box thing, and then again to the performances that still makes this a gut punch. He talks about it's Tracy's head and everything, and then he so slyly talks about how Tracy begged for her life and the life of her unborn child. And then you just see Mills it just clicks. And then Spacey, or John Doe, he just kind of chuckles. He's like, "Oh, you didn't know." You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that to him, because he's got that fucking smirk, that was a bonus to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then what I thought was great is just Pitt didn't say anything. He can't. You can tell he's choking up. And again, it was a testament because Fincher's right on his face. And Somerset's trying to calm him down. John Doe will win, blah, blah, blah. And you don't know if he's going to do it. But it was either in the commentary or something. Fincher did this and he fought for it. You briefly see a picture of Gwyneth Paltrow flash.
Yeah, it's like,
and then that's when Pitt looks up and boom.
Yeah.
They didn't want to do. I don't think the studio wanted that, and Fincher's like, no, that's because that's what a husband would do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He doesn't know he's going to do it, but then he thinks of Tracy, and it's super fast, and then he just makes that decision right then and there.
Yeah.
And I think that was just how good Fincher was too, and he fought for what he wanted.
Huh. And then John Doe wins.
He did.
I mean, really, he wins.
And that's the tragedy of it. Is
he gets
that
Brad Pitt
Mills,
to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mills, who came to the city to do good.
Mm-hmm.
It was never any more complicated than that, because Mills isn't a thinker like Somerset. Like, you have all these scenes where, Somerset's just sitting there by himself listening to jazz. Or
the metronome.
Sitting at home, or the metronome. Or he's throwing his, knife at the dartboard. And you can tell that's just how he passes his evenings. There's nothing else for him to do but sit and think. Because he's a thinker, or he's at the library in some book or this, that, and the other. Well, Mills isn't that way. It really is that simple for him to do some good. But he ends up killing an evil man as an act of vengeance.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in that way, John Doe succeeds.
Yep.
Yeah.
And brings this good man down to his level. And you can't... I would probably make the argument that John Doe wanted to die.
Yeah, most serial killers don't care if they die. I mean, they do. Most of them do.
I think Ryan. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's more of an issue. They know it's more compulsive than anything. They know it's not going to stop. It's going to continue to escalate. And I think there are some that are just smart enough to know that I have to be put down because I can't stop.
Yeah.
That's. I never thought of it that way. Like Mike, you said you thought John Doe wanted to die. Ryan was like he didn't care if he did or not, and I think that's correct because he knew he had to get this vision accomplished. He didn't. I don't know if he necessarily wanted to die, but he didn't care because he knew that was part of the bigger picture. To make his point. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. I mean, and most of the again, if you look at some of these guys, some of these serial killers, I think some of it is the compulsion thing, but on the other hand, I think they just, a lot of them are just so indifferent to it that, like what did Ted Bundy say? I'm the coldest son of a bitch you'll ever meet, or something like that, or I'm the most cold-hearted son of a bitch you'll ever meet. Don't give two shits. And they gave him the chair. I'm sure he didn't care at the end,
I saw that one about Richard Ramirez, the
Yeah.
stalker.
Yeah.
And he just looked like a vampire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you could just like his eyes were just black.
Yep.
And I love the story of how he ended up like in some Latino neighborhood, and the whole fucking neighborhood found out that he was in the neighborhood.
Recognized him.
Turned on. The whole fucking neighborhood like started getting after. I think they beat the shit out of him for a little bit.
Yeah, I think what it was is it was all pure luck. They either heard it on the radio, or I think they might have seen his picture in like one of those newspaper stands, quarter, and they saw him, and they literally saw him down the street, and they chased him, and they beat the shit out of him until the cops called. So it was pure happenstance, pure luck.
Yeah.
Well, the one, it's interesting too when we talk about these guys, because take Berkowitz, the Son of Sam guy. He's in jail, and he does not want to be released. Every time he comes up for parole, he doesn't want to go because, and I remember seeing an interview with him once where he seems like he's legitimately reformed himself. Like, I guess he had the psychiatric help that he doesn't want to be released because his time, what he does in prison is basically help out the other prisoners and tell them, look, don't do what I did. He's actually one of the few serial killers who's like legit reformed, but he does not want to be released into the public because his time is better spent in the penal system, in the jail, helping these guys out. So every time his parole comes up, he doesn't want to go out.
I'm sure.
There's also that counter argument, which was brought up in Shawshank Redemption, where sometimes you're just in there for so long you don't know how to cope on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want it. Yeah.
He
like
will not. He will not be able to function. Yeah,
they just
will not be able
Hinckley.
to function in. But these people will not be able to function in society.
No,
to have they will never. They're not going to have any sort of life again.
They'll fall back into old habits. Is what I think would happen.
That's what they're worried about with Hinckley, because I was reading that when he's like officially done all his, psychiatric whatever, and he's done. He's in the clear now. But I'm
100% sure that someone in the government somewhere, whether it's a Secret Service or somebody, is keeping an eye on him.
Oh yeah, he's got a whole list of things that he can't do. Like, he can't go near Jodie Foster. He can't have any movie. He can't watch any movies with Jodie Foster in them. Yeah. He can't own guns. He can't boom, 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 boom. But he's got a whole laundry list of stuff that they're watching him like a hawk. I mean, yeah.
So, I mean, John Doe. It's one of the more interesting movies where John Doe wins.
Yeah,
the bad guy wins.
You need that sometimes.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of time, like I just said, and I was saying this before we went on, I'm sort of done with the nihilism threads in movies, and I think people are starved for people actually doing something heroic.
Yeah,
which is why movies like Top Gun are making over $1 billion right now.
Yeah.
But it's been more than 20 years where we've just not just in movies but in television series. Whether you're watching The Sopranos. Or they're extremely well done shows, but it's always the same thing. The anti-hero or the Sons of Anarchy or now this Mayans MC or the Shield, where all these different, where these people just consistently double down in the opposite direction. There's just no redemptive arc in these storylines at all. And so, this sort of thing from 95 or so was, probably among the first. Starts to move in a serious way, a movie that's written for a serious audience, but has a very sort of nihilistic point of view.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you know,
and in the end, well, hold on. In the end, you end up with Somerset, sort of sacrificing his retirement now.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
He's not able to leave,
Yeah.
because now he's sort of become responsible for Mills.
And that last
Yeah.
shot we see of Mills, it sticks with you when he's just looking outside the police car
Yeah.
window. You know what I mean?
He's just broken.
Mhm.
And his face
Mhm.
hasn't changed from when he shot John
Yeah.
Doe.
Yeah.
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 He's lost his wife. He's lost his child.
Well,
Yeah.
He's
lost
probably
He lost his soul.
he's lost his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, while those things internally matter, everything has been ruined on every level.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Like everything has been taken from him. It just in the matter of a second, and you just wake up and and then from one second to the next, everything that you understood as your reality is just gone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, it doesn't allow Somerset the rest that he was looking forward to. And it's a hell of a story.
Mhm.
It still holds up today. Again, I've got it on it on Blu-ray there at the top. As part of the 3-packs. Yeah, I mean, what's 27 years?
Mhm.
Yeah.
27 years.
I was just doing the math earlier. Yeah, I think it's 27 years. Yeah. And I mean, you look at Kevin Spacey back then when he was right at the height of his
game.
career. Yeah. And he's a fantastic actor. And then you look at what downward spiral his life has taken.
Just recently too.
Yeah. Like it's
he
weird.
just got hit again for like $30 million or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like that.
My wife and I just recently watched Horrible Bosses. And that movie's hilarious. And he's great in that. And I'm just like, I can't believe this is the man who is now basically has no career left. You can't not think about that when you watch his movies now. Like it's always in the back of your head. Like Glengarry Glen Ross, Usual Suspects, Se7en, all these movies that he's terrific in. And it's just like, man, you just wow.
We've talked about this many times on the show, how especially at the highest levels, these people have a big fucking hole inside of them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of people fill it with some dark shit.
Yeah.
We've talked about that when we talked about Polanski.
Yep.
We've covered Mel Gibson on the show, who I think is just one of the best directors in fucking Hollywood. Period. But he's got some fucking issues. Kevin Spacey. We've talked about people like Chris Farley. And I think maybe it was last week when I don't remember if it was Point Break or something. I saw this thing on Variety or something like it was Variety's YouTube channel. Don't ask me how I ended up on there. It just popped up in my timeline, but it had David Duchovny on there, and it was David Duchovny's was his entire timeline from Twin Peaks up till this new show that he's doing right now on one of the streaming channels or something. I can't remember. But he said at the end of it, he goes, we all have it. He goes, it's like a sickness. That this insecurity that's inside of us, we're never settled. We're never settled because you can never just rest and say, okay, I did all. You have to it's always the next thing. So there's this massive hole in a lot of these people that, are at the highest level, as opposed to somebody, who might just work stage production. Like I did Tony Atherton. I talked to Tony Atherton, and he's had some small roles in Peaky Blinders, and he's had some small roles in The Crown. But you can tell he's, at least, he seems to be, a centered guy. He's got a wife, he's got a couple kids. He comes from a completely different background. And then one day, he decided to pursue something that he used to do in high school, which was stage production. And now, he's in his 60s, but, he comes from a more grounded place. You see the same things in athletes. These guys are making $50, $100 million, and every other day there's another one on for this charge or that, allegation or something like that. It's
It's
It doesn't always breed the most well-rounded people.
No.
No.
So, okay. We're going to continue in the thread of what we've been doing. I'm going to ask you to rate, each of you to rate the movie. So on a scale of 1 to 5, half stars are allowed. So you can go anywhere from 0 to 5. Ryan, what would you give this movie?
Oh, geez. I mean, considering I haven't seen it in a few years, gosh, from what I remember of it, and you
Top
you
of
know,
your head,
us
don't
talking about
overthink it.
No, us talking about it brings back some memories of it. So, I'd say 4, solid
Okay.
4, probably. You know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Eric.
It's in my top 2 movies of all time, dude. I'm giving it a 5. You know, great performances. You like I said, the tone. You have that necessary bleak ending that you do need. Sometimes it's not all happy go lucky because in real life, you know, sometimes the bad guys do win. You know, and just like I said, the chemistry between Pitt and Freeman, I think, is just fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
It's a weird thing in that you could look at this and then look at Silence of the Lambs from a few years before, which is an extremely bleak movie.
Yep.
It's extremely bleak and dark, and you know, Buffalo Bill and all this shit, and serial killers, and it ends with Lecter winning in the end. But you sort of walked out chuckling.
Yeah,
you know?
it was
I'm having an old friend for dinner.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was you left the tongue in the cheek. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, and he's dressed up in that, you know, he's got like his seersucker suit on or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the Panama hat, you know, and he's just kind of strolling after Dr. Chilton, you know, and he knows, you know, guess what's for dinner. You know, it's fucking Dr. Chilton. But then, you know, this even gets dark. This is darker than that.
Yeah.
This is darker than that. So, Kara, what would you give it? 0 to 5, half stars allowed. Where would you be? Where would you?
I rarely give perfect scores, but I would give it the full 5. It holds my attention the entire film. There's always something new to consider and think about. Every time I rewatch it, it's never the same movie. I always notice something different.
Okay. All right. So 5. All right. That brings me to me. And I'm going to go again with a solid 4. And the reason I'm going with 4 is what I said before we really started getting into it. The first time I watched this, well, I was going to watch it. I sent a friend out to the video store. He came back instead with, because 7 was gone, with The Usual Suspects. And I think that The Usual Suspects is a level above this.
Okay.
Just in terms of overall storytelling. So before I even watched it, I had just seen another movie with Kevin Spacey that I thought was better. And I would probably put that at 4.5.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a solid 4. You know, but I own a copy. Anybody who hasn't seen it, you know, I would encourage you to watch it. It's really good writing, really solid performances. You're getting to see people, really put on a hell of a show. It's like I said, it's not a buddy cop movie. It's almost like a theater production. It's just so fucking dark and maudlin. Yeah, it really is. This isn't Lethal Weapon. This isn't Lethal Weapon. It's not Silence of the Lambs. It is just this relentlessly dark story where, evil wins.
And I'm just happy.
At the end of the day.
I'm happy. I'm happy. Evil didn't win in the with David Fincher. You know, with 20th Century Fox. You know, fucking him over with Alien 3. I'm glad he didn't give up because we wouldn't have had 7.
He could have been a one and done guy. Yeah.
That's another thing, and another reason why I give it 4. Well, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. There are other Fincher movies that I feel that are even better.
Okay.
What else did you do?
I would love to cover this at some point. I can't get anybody on, or it's gone off the streaming service every time I want to talk about it. Zodiac. Zodiac is about the Zodiac Killer is just fucking horrifying.
Okay. I'll look. I might have access to that.
I have the book by Robert Graysmith, who was played by Jake Gyllenhaal in the movie. who was just a cartoonist for the San Francisco Chronicle at the time that the Zodiac Killer was sending the letters, taunting people.
Mhm.
And it's just because it's real. It doesn't play like Seven, but to me, it's just much scarier. It's much scarier, especially based on the fact that they never caught the Zodiac Killer. So it sort of ends with no resolution. They had people that they suspected were. They thought it was that guy Arthur Lee Allen. But
Oh
go ahead,
yeah.
Kara, were you going to say something?
Oh no, I was gonna say I thought years later they eventually did. Like I even know what was it? There were theories at one point that the Zodiac was the Unabomber. It's just he had disconnected and evolved in methods, which of course wasn't true, but it was an interesting theory at the time.
Yeah, there were a lot of them. The thing with, I guess, there was a lot of harassment that Grace Smith received. And then one day, Arthur Lee Allen, who they thought was, the primary suspect, died of a heart attack. And after Arthur Lee Allen died, all of the letters and the heavy breathing, everything just stopped. All of the harassment stopped. So that's pointed people. It's never been proven. It's like Jack the Ripper. They've never. Grace Smith ended up writing a second book on the Zodiac Killer, where he claims he can prove who the killer is. But the police I don't think the police have ever closed the case definitively. He also came out with
Girl with the
Gone
Dragon
Girl.
Tattoo.
Oh, he did Gone Girl?
Yeah, Gone Girl with Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike, which I thought was far more. That was like Fatal Attraction to like the nth degree, man. Holy shit.
Crazy.
I didn't like his dragon tattoo. And I thought that.
That's right. He did that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that Daniel Craig had been miscast because Daniel Craig, in the middle of playing James Bond, just can't play a wimp, which he kind of does. And you're just like, you got there are a million other, because I like the Callie Blomquist. I've got that entire Swedish version on Blu-ray, extended versions. I love me some Stieg Larsson and some Noomi Rapace and Lisbeth Salander and, that whole thing. But yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I think Noomi Rapace is Salander, and, that's pretty much it. But he's had, a number. Oh, he also had The Game.
The Game is good.
Oh man, The Game is just one of my.
I saw that one. Who's in that?
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Sean Penn.
Oh, that one. Yeah. I didn't see that.
Pop over sometime. We'll watch it. We'll get a pizza or something. And
You'll
we'll
dig
watch
it,
the
right?
fucking Game. Yeah, that's a great fucking movie.
Yep.
I'm just tired of Sean Penn. I can't stand Sean Penn anymore.
Yeah, but he's not in this very much. But he is good when he's in it. But yeah, I'd give it a 4. Again, like I said, I saw The Usual Suspects first, and now looking back on it, I see work that I think is actually better that Fincher has been able to do. So yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Okay.
Is there anything that we did not cover that people would like to address with this film? Did we miss anything?
No, we got in the little Arlie Ermy thing that I think he needed to have credit for, and then I wanted to talk about that little flash of Gwyneth Paltrow at the end, but no, I pretty much got it all done for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to rewatch it again because I haven't seen it in a long time. Okay. So.
Yeah. It's definitely worth watching.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it for tonight. My thanks to the Ryan Daly for coming in on the Improv and talking some Fincher. Eric, who convinced me to bring this in for the first redux or redo or whatever you want to call it.
You're welcome.
And Kara, who was here on the first one, now brings it to a close. We won't be tackling this movie a third time. But like I said,
the sequel's called 8. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Hollywood decides to do a sequel.
I don't think that Hollywood has much stomach for a movie with this much substance nowadays.
I know. I'm kidding.
Everything these days.
I was half thinking 12 Monkeys because wasn't Brad Pitt in that one also? And
yep.
Yeah, right after this, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Who was it? Was that Terry Gilliam?
Yep.
Yeah.
Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
That's a good one too, though.
Yeah.
I love Terry Gilliam. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff. All right. That is it for us tonight. The Friday night show, which is becoming somewhat of a semi-regular thing now, under these new slavish conditions that I'm being sentenced to. But it's all good. Next week, the Summer of Crime. And I don't know if we're going to pull this off. We have No Country for Old Men. The Coen Brothers. I have to find out if that's actually going to happen and if it's available for people to watch. If not, then I'll think of something else. I was going to do Personal Shopper, Criterion, which is Criterion Collection with Kristen Stewart, which is a fantastic fucking noir supernatural film. It's just like this avant-garde fucking. It's fucking amazing. With Walk the Cinema, but they're both down with COVID. So I don't know. Yeah, husband and wife are both down with COVID, so I don't know if that's going to be possible. So I might just be improvising next week, and we'll see how it plays out. But it's all good, and we'll have some content, and I'll know in a couple of days. Okay. All right, my thanks to all of you this evening.
Absolutely.
And everybody have a great weekend, and I'll talk to y'all soon. And I need to make a new outro.